Do you want to start an e-commerce business and scale it to 7 figures a year? Who wouldn't? As a serial entrepreneur, David did just that in 2020 by combining his brand Beardhead with e-commerce. We'll be interviewing David, who scaled his business to more than $1 million a year and also started successful ventures on the side as well. He did all this with just a $10,000 investment into the first production of Beardheads. His brand Beardheads was also featured in Shark Tank, The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, The Doctors, just to name a few. In terms of sales for Beardhead, how did that look like after you aired? Profit margins are killer. What are they if you do the math?
We did zero PPC advertising, zero advertising for I think the first 4 years. And that brought in, I don't know, like 30, 40 grand overnight.
Today, he's going to show us how he leveraged social media to gain popularity. He's going to talk to us about how you can start your own e-commerce business and connect with magazines and influencers and a lot more. And how long did it take before you got the 10 grand back?
Took about a month. Amazon is 80+% of our overall business. One day I look at our Google Analytics is about a month in, 100,000, 200,000 hits a day.
Well, before we go meet David, take a second, like this video, subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of our videos. And without further ado, let's go talk to David and get to know about his business idea. David?
Hey.
How you doing? I'm Paul.
Good, how you doing?
Good to meet you. Let's get into it.
Sure.
All right, you guys, we are here with the owner, inventor of Beardhead. David, thank you for being with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, well, we got some questions for you, and our audience and viewers are dying to find out a little bit about the story and really a couple of your ventures.
Sure.
Tell me about you, your company, Beardhead, and when and why and how you started the company.
Sure, well, Beardhead, we make knit beard hats with mustaches on them. Little strange, little niche, a little novelty, but
for sure,
you know, it's been really successful. We started in 2008, so it's been almost 13 years. Started it not too long out of college. It was my first kind of big foray into entrepreneurship. I had a couple of other smaller businesses that did okay, but Beardhead is the one that really took off. Got on Shark Tank, among other things.
So the idea, where did the idea come from?
Right. The idea, I tend to work with products and create products that I feel passionate about.
Okay.
And Beardhead kind of came when I was essentially on a snowboarding trip. The whole story is I was on a ski lift and fiddling around with my bandana. The cold wind and the snow was burning my face and the bandana kept falling down. It was uncomfortable, wasn't working out. And if you've ever been skiing or snowboarding, you have a lot of free time on the ski lift when you're just kind of like waiting there, quiet, serene, you know? So I end up thinking about, God, I hate this thing. What can I do to make something fun to wear? And after a lot of prototypes and trying a lot of different things, Beardhead was born.
David, tell us what your first production of Beardhead cost and how long it took you to recoup that.
Yeah, well, the first one we put in, I say we, it cost about $10,000.
Okay. How many units?
I think it was roughly 2,000. So it was about $5 after paying for the shipping and doing all that kind of stuff, $5 a pop.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then how long did it take before you got the 10 grand back? And
took about a month. So it was, I mean, like, you know, it kind of, we had them, we were sitting on, we started, you know, we put the website up and then
things just
sold
took
out.
Off?
Yeah, and ever since then, so everything I've ever done since then has all been financed through that very first production run. You know, so I haven't taken on any loans, I haven't put in more money, I haven't had to. So everything was rolled over. Oh, we got, you know, what were we, it would have been 60,000 essentially was selling through the whole thing because they were selling at the time $30 each. You know, and then so that was just buy the next batch and then so on and so forth, and it grew. So yeah, good $10,000 investment.
I mean, profit margins are killer. What are they if you do the math?
80% gross 80%. On gross. You know, there's obviously you know expenses and advertising if you do that and this warehouse. But generally, so I would actually say,
insane.
As a rule of thumb for me, when I'm looking at an opportunity, one, I keep it usually within a $20 to $50 price point because I feel that's the range I understand. Like any more, you're going to get more returns and you have to convince people more, and it's not necessarily like a kind of a spur of the moment type of purchase. And in that price point range, I personally make it a rule of thumb to have like a 4 to 5x markup. You know, so 75 to 80% gross margin. And then that gives you enough wiggle room to like make mistakes here and there, you know, have discount if you have to, things like that.
When you came up with that idea, how did you validate to yourself, hey, this is potentially a really profitable idea, business, etc.?
Well, so first, you know, out on the ski slopes, kind of came up with the product idea, but like how did that transition into actually jumping in and doing this business in e-commerce? And I mentioned before I had done some smaller things, and it's true, I had an e-commerce business. It was a poker jewelry business called Poker Bling. So I had some experience doing e-commerce and setting up a website and that kind of thing. So when I came up with the idea for Beardhead, and it's because it's something I was interested in, you know, more passionate about, I love snowboarding, and I had produced things, I should say, overseas in China. This was Poker Bling. I made stuff in China. Beardhead, I felt, oh, I can find somebody to do this for me. And at the time, this is 2008, this was not as common as it is now. So Alibaba is huge now. Everyone can source their products. 2008 wasn't nearly as popular. No one really was doing that. They were like, kind of, I guess, is very risky, you know.
Did you go out for like a market research to determine anything? You just kind of
no, you know, I kind of, this has always sort of been my way to do things, and it doesn't work out for everybody.
Right.
But if it's a niche product in a market that doesn't exist, for instance, you know, like Beardhead, the product didn't exist before. I have a different product I run right now, pet product, doesn't exist prior to me introducing it. I just kind of go with my gut on it because I feel like I would buy it, and I spend a lot of time on Reddit. Feel like a lot of Reddit people will buy it, and Reddit's the pulse of the internet. So, you know, I feel pretty good usually, and I take a flyer on it. So.
Okay. What about revenue for Beardhead and then Zoo Snoods for 2020, and profit margins on Zoo Snoods? We didn't touch on that. We did talk about Beardhead, so let's
yeah. So revenue wise, we're just under $1 million combined. Combined, okay. Yeah. And Beardhead has always been kind of the Papa company, and Zoo Snoods was just starting because it's much younger. But in 2020, Zoo Snoods, because Beardhead had that down year, especially down year, and Zoo Snoods had you know, its best year ever, and we're growing every year with Zoo Snoods as well because it's a new brand. It surpassed.
Similar profit margins on that?
Zoo Snoods is a little bit worse.
Worse, okay.
Yeah, it's
less or not.
Yeah,
I mean, 80% is nice.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. They're both still really good. Okay. The Zoo Snoods, it costs probably about the same to make a Zoo Snood and a Beardhead.
Okay.
Some Beardheads a little bit, like the fancy one with the horns and all that's a little bit more expensive. But the Zoo Snoods, there'll be a small one which I only sell for $16, and that's a much lower price point. Most of my Beardheads range 20 to 40.
Right.
So the lower price point makes a difference. I have to offer free shipping, so that cuts into the profit margin as well for Zoo Snoods at the lower price point. And Zoo Snoods has a little bit higher cost of advertising because we do compete for dog costumes keywords,
Gotcha.
Whereas Beardhead's very niche and specific, so it's not as expensive.
Okay. Why don't we ask about how the process of getting on Shark Tank looked for you?
Sure.
And in terms of sales for Beardhead, how did that look like after you aired?
Well,
was it what you expected?
So, yes and no. One of the biggest regrets and mistakes, kind of failures, was our website crashed. Happens all the time. Happens to everybody.
After
it seems.
airing?
During the airing, you know, they always say that don't let the website crash, but it's going to crash. And you know, leading up to it, I made it like my mission: don't let this website crash.
Okay.
And it still crashed.
So what did that do to sales? Or
I mean, we'll never really know.
Okay.
But
that's right.
I mean, we did
Wow.
really, really well. You know, we did well into the six figures just for those like next couple days, and that's with our website being down for 2 straight days.
How did you get the word out? What was the marketing approach for introducing us to this
And
stuff?
again, you know, we talked about marketing a little bit earlier, and I mentioned you kind of got to be lucky. Well, with Beardhead, we kind of got a little lucky there. I'm a big fan of if you build it, they will come, because it's worked for me.
Okay.
And it's lucky. I get it, right? But we basically built the website and hadn't done any advertising at all. I think I might have sent 1 or 2 emails out to a couple blogs that I would go to. Basically, have you ever heard of a thing, it's not popular anymore, called StumbleUpon? See, again, I'm old, dude. I'm 39, almost 40, so maybe that's it. Like, I've got all these. I'm throwing out like these random references of dated internet tools. Stumble upon was this thing that one day I look at our Google Analytics is about a month in to selling this stuff, and like it's off the charts. It's not quality traffic, but we get 100,000, 200,000 hits a day. From like 40.
A month after you went live.
So something just sort of happened. And once that happens, right, then all the blogs, they go, oh, pick it up, write about it. Another blog sees that, pick it up. You know, because that's how it is. Everything is always just sort of snowballs. So once you get that one good hit, it snowballs into other ones. So that's sort of how it happened with Beardhead. And I'll tell you, we did zero PPC advertising, zero advertising for I think the first 4 years of Beardhead.
Just
insane.
Basically the popularity just went,
I can't believe that. Like I was against it at the time because I'm like, I don't want to spend money on this. And now I spend a ton of money on online ads. It's a huge expense. But I can't believe how successful we got just through word of mouth essentially originally back when we first started Beardhead.
Today, where can our viewers, any customers find you? On what platforms, and what platforms are generating the most amount of revenue for you?
Sure. Obviously, our website is our preferred platform, so come visit us at beardhead.com or zoosnoods.com. I'm sure it'll be included in the description of the video. Also, Amazon. Both our products are fully on there. You can even go to amazon.com/beardhead, amazon.com/zoosnoods. Amazon is still our biggest platform
in the 80% there?
Yeah, Beardhead is 80% these days. Is 80%. Zoo Snoods about 60. So we do really well on our website for Zoo Snoods, and we're actually looking, and that's actually growing. So it's become more of a focus recently because we don't have to pay all the extra fees. You know, our biggest fee. Expense, I should say, overall as a percent of revenue is Amazon fees.
Right.
Yeah. So they definitely add up.
Marketing. What's been the best strategy for you that has the highest ROI? Or maybe what have been some flops for you where you spent the money and saw nothing come back?
Yeah. So, I mean, not to harp on Shark Tank, but obviously that had the biggest return on investment, certainly, because you get in front of 20 million viewers.
Right.
It's going to pay off, especially because it didn't cost me anything.
Not everyone's going to get that chance, but that makes sense.
Right. So barring the Shark Tank or the other, I will say people can get big press hits, though, like the Jay Leno thing that brought in, I don't know, like 30, 40 grand overnight. And that didn't cost anything either. So PR works, right? PR can definitely pay off. It's just not, it's not consistent, right? You can't rely on it to at least the big ones. You know, you can't rely on getting that big hit. But when it does work, that's probably the one that's going to move the needle the most.
So for your pet products, what's working now?
Yeah. So outside of the crazy or like the real big hits, we've found right now social media influencer marketing specifically for the pet products. The Zoo Snoods has been amazing. It's been a great way to build our community. We've got, right now 40, 50,000 Instagram followers. They're all posting photos of the products. Some of them are legit photographers taking amazing product photos, which we can use. We ask them and then use them for marketing materials, all that kind of stuff. It gets shared and liked thousands of times. So it's just...
That's a good ROI.
Yeah, and it's fun. It's fun. We get to interact with these people. We send them free stuff, and it's a lot of fun.
What are you spending on all advertisement right now for both of your products or all of your products monthly?
I tend to think of things in terms of years because we're so seasonal. Like what I'm going to spend now in May is next to nothing, versus what I spend in December. So yearly, I think we spend about $100K.
100,000.
Yeah, advertising is probably about 10% of overall revenue.
Okay. Yeah. For e-commerce, though, is that where you want to be?
I probably should be higher.
Should be higher?
I should be, but it's just when we start chasing after more difficult and competitive keywords, those keywords become unprofitable for us. So at that whatever range we're at, when it's 10%. And this is 10% of total sales, not 10% of, so it's tacos, not ACOS. But if I did it too much more, I think it ends up not being worthwhile.
So after Shark Tank, David, tell us what happened. Did you get a deal? No deal?
I'm out.
I'm out. I'm out.
So I'm out, but I'll be watching you.
We didn't get the deal on Shark Tank. It was really close. I could feel Robert was almost there, but ultimately, they passed. I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand when you're talking to a shark who's worth millions, billions, in some cases.
What is this?
They don't care about like $1 million a year business that might scale to 10 million, maybe. They're looking for something a little bit bigger for the most part. So I get it. No hard feelings there. It was a great experience. So they were super nice, very complimentary, but didn't get the deal, unfortunately.
Okay. But it did help the business.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, when you get in front of 20 million people, like this is going to help,
Okay.
So it was definitely a worthwhile experience.
For those who are looking to start an e-commerce business, where do they start? Can you walk us through just the simplicity of here's what you need to do, here are the steps, boom, it's all ready to go.
Simplicity, that's a good one. I think, so there are two kind of different methods that a lot of people go, or tracks, I should say. One is they kind of do the drop shipping and or private label sort of thing. And then there's what we do is we create our own products. So we're sort of like a brand manufacturer. On the side of things where I'm just making products, just a
website or
payment
platform?
Ultimately, it's going to be product. You want to find the right product. You want to be passionate about that product. Because you have to wake up and work on it every day. If you don't really care, that's going to be the biggest sort of factor in whether you're going to be successful or not.
Right.
To me, I think. But other than that, you want the website. After we had the meltdown and the website just blowing up after Shark Tank, I switched to Shopify. Amazing. I love Shopify.
No problems.
They don't pay me anything either, but I love them. They're amazing. So I especially if you're just starting out, I would definitely suggest Shopify.
Just starting your own e-commerce business.
Starting your own e-commerce.
Shopify.
Yes,
Okay.
I would definitely recommend Shopify. Aside from that, set up the Shopify. Got to have good product photos. That's everything. And then, if you have a product that you can engage on social media, that people care. Like, no one's going to care if you're selling a tripod and you're going to be like, no one's going to be tweeting and posting about this tripod all day. But if you have a product that does, which I recommend you find, this is why I purposely try to find products that can essentially be viral, right? Beardhead, people want to take pictures, share it. Zoo Snoods, who doesn't want to take a cute picture of their dog and share it? So these are inherently viral. I would suggest, if you can, try to find an inherently viral product. Not always easy, but if you can do it, that's the way to go.
David, who designed your platform? What did it cost, your e-commerce site and so on?
It's on Shopify, as I mentioned before. So a lot of that's functionality and the way the whole website works comes with, on the platform sort of base. We have a premium theme. I think it was like $60.
That's it?
Yeah, and then the rest, I kind of did myself. Fortunately, we have a lot of really amazing images, already that we use for marketing purposes. So kind of populating the website with a lot of that kind of stuff. And like I said before, amazing product photography. With us, we do our branding is like this big head, sort of like over the top look. I'm happy. I'm very happy with the website and the way it looks. And with Shopify, don't have to worry about hosting. Don't have to worry about the website going down.
That's good.
We know security is always going to be good. So I love it.
Guys, I want to bring up to your attention upflip.com/blog. Go check out our blog. We've got full, complete guides on how you can start an e-commerce business. Check it out. How were you impacted by last year's large-scale pandemic?
Yeah, Beardhead was impacted pretty heavily. It's a outdoor kind of snowboard skiing sort of thing, and a lot of those resorts are closed, so that hurt. And on top of that, we do a huge amount of gift business, like around the holidays, Christmas gifts, Christmas parties. People want to wear this, white elephant gifts, things like that. It's actually probably the majority of our purchases are for gifts. And there was just a lot less of that in 2020. So that definitely hurt. Amazon is 80+% of our overall business for Beardhead. It's less for Zoo Snoods, but for Beardhead, it's 80+%. And during the start of the pandemic, they shut down everything except for essential products. So that wasn't fun. It was a stressful time. But on the bright side of things, I guess, if there is a bright side of 2020, Zoo Snoods sales went up, actually. I think they could have went up even more had there been no pandemic. There's a lot of issues that cause slowdowns, but there is something called COVID puppies. If you've heard of this phenomenon, a lot of people stuck at home bought puppies over the pandemic, and that probably helped our sales.
you mentioned something going into the dog industry. First question, I guess, is designs with Beardhead. Are you still redesigning them? Who controls that process?
Sure.
How often you come out with new ones, and maybe talk about your new product as well. And
yeah, absolutely. We do a lot of designs. I mean, we have more than 200 SKUs for Beardhead.
Wow. But
as of late, Beardhead has been, it's kind of, the product life cycle is typically maybe 7 years and plateaus a bit and then sort of eases down a little bit. And that's kind of where we're at right now with Beardhead. But so we're tending to not spend a whole lot of time on new product design. Honestly, like some of our classics are still the most popular. So we've had a handful of new designs come out that have had some success, but still nothing stacks up to kind of the staple designs.
The Viking one?
Yeah, the Viking one. These are all pretty good. This one's still the best one.
Nice.
So we tend to do a little bit less.
And then your new product.
And then
a little bit about that.
Right. And so I mentioned kind of Beardhead is a little easing down a little bit. And there's been I decided to do a bit of a product extension into the pet industry. But it's not under the Beardhead brand because it would be weird, I guess, to have a Beardhead for dogs. But it's essentially, it's a knit product, costume-like, novelty-like, but has some function. So that's what Beardhead is all about. It's about functionality, but also a fun. We say fun and functionality if you want to throw the tagline on it. But Zoo Snoods is the other brand. It's like essentially a Beardhead for a pet without the beard. But they're like animal themed. You'll have like a lion, a knit lion kind of hood for a dog, or a baby alien, or for a unicorn, that kind of thing.
What are the advantages of doing direct-to-consumer through your website and versus wholesaling, maybe versus Amazon?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big topic these days.
I mean, it's funny that you bring it up because Beardhead in particular, because we've been around for so long now, we've gone through a lot of changes in our business model. Whereas, when we first started out, obviously just the website, we're small little guys. We grew that, turned it into a much more of a wholesale business. To at one point, at our highest point as far as revenue, was 1.3 million.
Wow.
And 70% of that was wholesale. And then we kind of plateaued out around 1 million. And then I just decided I don't want to do wholesale anymore because you got to go to trade shows, you got to have sales reps, you got to follow up. Sometimes, when we're doing like $5,000, $10,000 a day during the winter in sales, direct sales to consumers, and then we got like somebody who we did a wholesale thing with for $200 and, a small shop. Don't get me wrong, they're great, but they start getting on you about like, oh, this is this and this, and I'm just, why am I doing this? I got to deal with the sales rep too. I got to collect. I got to get this guy to send me a check, and then I got to cash the. It's just.
So you're focused all on direct to consumer through your website, preferably now?
Yeah, preferably through the website, but Amazon, obviously, I mean, that's still good. It's still a great platform.
On the topic of influencers, how do you? What's the system for reaching out to them?
Yeah, well, I would say,
what does that do?
For me, and this, it depends on your business, but because I love my brand, I personally created the brand, and I love dogs, I just try to be as authentic and genuine as possible. So I'm the one doing the outreach most of the time. Sometimes I'll have somebody else like help out with the social media.
Just sending messages and say, hey, here's.
I'll just find some account I like. They have great photos, and does it say, I love your photos, your dog's super cute. You want a free product. I don't require them to post anything. I don't make any demands.
That's interesting.
Because if they like it,
they'll do it.
Yeah, they'll do it. And influencers, there are a lot of dog influencers, mind you. And they're looking for content. They want to post cute photos, right? So why wouldn't they want the cute
perfect marriage?
Exactly.
Yeah. Interesting.
And that's worked so far for us. I also have we have a whole affiliate program, so anyone can sign up. If they refer a sale, they get 15% commission. So that's also a strong way to sort of just develop that sort of influencer affiliate network without necessarily finding those specific ones that you really love that create amazing stuff. It could be anybody, really.
Okay. Just a quick snippet. Please take a moment, like this video, subscribe to our channel. It really encourages us to continue to create all this production for you guys. David, looking at the entire process from manufacturing to customer support, what do you do in-house? What do you contract out to third-party services?
Sure. Especially right now, as of right now, I do everything myself. So everything is in-house. Oh, obviously, except for the production. I'm not knitting all these things myself. But outside of production, which we do in China, I do all the advertising, I do the marketing, I do the customer support, I do the shipping.
Wow.
This is where magic happens, man.
Okay.
So I basically take care of everything. That's by design. We've had employees in the past. I've had sales reps. I've had accounting. I've had some of these things. But with Amazon sort of taking over the space, a lot of that, there's no way I could do all the shipping myself. But with Amazon FBA, with fulfillment through them, and with so much of our business going through Amazon these days, I'll still do our own website shipping, which can get a little crazy in the winter. But, it's 2 months or so out of the year, which I get a little nuts and I might hire somebody temp. Right. But for the most part, I tend to handle everything myself. Zero payroll and no headaches, no HR headaches, nothing like that.
You've also been featured in quite big publications and TV shows and things like that. How did those things happen, and what advice do you have for other company owners looking for big name publications and some exposure like that?
Well, I do have some advice, which I'll get to, but I will say with the caveat, a lot of it's just luck. We can't control that. Certainly we reach out to some publications and try to get some press, but all our very biggest hits have always come, with the exception of Shark Tank, have come with just essentially them contacting us. But to get those people to come and contact you, you have to have some sort of presence. You have to be, you get a lot of attention just virally on social media, on smaller blogs. I will say, back when I first started, anyone who emailed us could be a mommy blog with 20 visitors a day or something, asking, hey, can we have a free beard head? We'd love to review it. Sure, I would send it.
Really?
Because you never know who reads that blog or who might read it, and maybe someday it gets to Ellen.
Right.
And then we go.
There. Yeah.
Exactly. So, put yourself out there, I would say. Specifically, though, HARO, Help a Reporter Out, HARO.
Okay. Note that, you guys, HARO.
Yeah, HARO. That is it's a place where journalists, press basically put out requests, like calls for experts in something. So that's some way that we got a couple decent press hits from them.
You went through that platform.
But you have to sort through a lot of stuff that doesn't, apply to you, and and it's a daily thing where it's a slog to get through sometimes. But that's one way to, you never know. You can get a good hit from that.
Let's talk about suppliers. You come up with a new design.
Yep.
Where does that start? The process of a new design, and walk us through the evolution of it showing up like this.
Sure. Yeah. The new design, we're just kind of looking at what's popular amongst beards. You could just do simple Google searches and things like that. But basically, we'll get that kind of info. Even sometimes we'll actually do an Instagram survey. We'll ask, what kind of design would you guys like to see? And then we'll just sort of sketch it out. We'll create something like a mock-up in Photoshop. I'm not the best crocheter and knitter, so
neither am I.
I used to try to do it myself and then send the sample off to our supplier, but we've been working with the same supplier since day one. We were very lucky in that we found someone that worked out from the beginning, and since then our relationship has really grown. I've been to China several times. I trust them completely at this point, and we got to the point now where I could just send a sketch or even describe what I want, and they'll come up with something pretty good, if not, in some cases, better than I had originally imagined.
What about Zoo Snoods? Why did you decide to venture off? You mentioned that a little bit, but I want to dive in just a little bit more. Yeah. Why Zoo Snoods? Is there anything else coming as well?
Like I said before, I think just in general, it's good to sort of diversify. Beardhead had been slowing down already, and we would get emails and messages, DMs from people saying, hey, do you make one for a dog? Do you make one for a dog? And we tried, and it didn't really work out so much. And people would even send us pictures of their dogs wearing a beard head, which doesn't really look quite right. But they everyone's having fun. I also love dogs. I have my own dog. So I thought, you know what, maybe we should let's make one for a dog. And it's kind of gone from there, and it's turned into this amazing company and super strong brand with this vibrant community, and it's a ton of fun.
Awesome. Is there any difference between the manufacturing process, or is it pretty much the same? Because
It's actually, so I think like compared to when we first started Beardhead, it was way easier to launch Zoo Snoods because we've been working with the same manufacturer. Oh, it's the same manufacturer.
Everything's set up.
And we have economies of scale to a certain degree when we're dyeing yarn, when we're making bulk yarn purchases. The same color brown for this beard is the same color brown that I use for our grizzly bear Zoo Snoods.
Right.
So yeah, it was actually a lot easier. And like I said, where I could just essentially sketch something out, and then they'll make it for me, and the small tweaks here and there. So when I first did Beardhead, we had one style, 4 different colors. That was the first almost year, I think, of products. And then with Zoo Snoods, I introduced, I think it came out with 10 styles.
From the get-go.
Yeah, and now we're up to like going on 20, something like that. So I don't have too many ideas for the different animals and what works and whatnot. So we try to do like 2 or 3, maybe new ones a year for Zoo Snoods.
Well, you guys, that's a wrap. David, it's been a pleasure. It's not an easy industry to be in. However, it's very profitable, clearly, or can be.
Can be.
Guys, as always, we've got something very special for you from David. David, tell us more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone, UpFlip visitors, video watchers, please come to our website. We've got a 20% off deal, everything that we have. Just enter the code UpFlip in the checkout on either Zoo Snoods or Beardhead, entire order, and we'll keep that active for, I don't know, forever, I guess. So
awesome.
Go for it.
Thank you so much, David. Guys, we will leave all the details for you in the description below. Thank you so much. What an incredible, fun business that David is in. I hope you guys took away a lot. If you haven't already, subscribe to our channel, like this video, and see you next time.